so I couldn't see myself. So
Okay, we're on.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kara. This is Dr. Hillary. We're here to talk about PCOS tonight. And it's near and dear to Hillary's heart because she has battled with it for a long time since she was really young and figured out how to manage it with diet, exercise, and just all kinds of lifestyle tips. So she'll be really good at giving us those tips, but we're going to really focus on food and blood sugar regulation and exercise and just some real basic, amazingly potent medicine for PCOS.
We are assuming that, hi everybody, again, I'm Dr. Hillary. Kara and I wish we were together, but she's at her home in Connecticut and I'm at my home in California. Just turning this tea down. We're both in our kitchens today because such an important part of PCOS is working with food and being in the kitchen. And so we wanted to do this class from our kitchens. So if you're watching, you can see, and if you're listening, then you can just sort of kind of think about what it would be, what we look like in the kitchen cooking these things. So we'll cook a little bit for you. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about PCOS in general. PCOS is a really frustrating thing for women, especially if they've been diagnosed with it. It's one of those things that feels quite horrifying. It feels like, well, I was told when I was 22, so I had irregular cycles from the time I started my period. I started my period quite late, maybe around the middle of being 15 or 16. I was a ballet dancer, so we thought that that was why. And then I had really irregular cycles all the way through. And the strategy was for me to go on birth control to regulate the cycle. So that was the strategy at the time from any OB that you would have spoken to. And so without even really thinking about it, I just went on the pill and got my period. So I didn't at the time think about if I was still irregular or not. But when I went off the pill, I was about 22 and, or maybe 21 or 22. I went off the pill because I was just starting to like not feel great. And I wanted to see what was happening with my body. I was getting some pelvic pain and some cystic pain, and I didn't like understand what was happening. I was living in Boston at the time. I was obviously super young. I just graduated from college. And I went to a really famous OBGYN in Boston at the hospital and the whole nine. And that doctor looked at me and said, "You have PCOS. You're totally likely to be infertile. And infertility is just one of those things. There's definitely cysts on your ovaries, and there's not a lot you can do." And I remember calling my friends at the time, like, wait, I'm 22 and I was just told that I'm like infertile, and it seems really strange. And actually it kind of kick-started me on the path of figuring out my body and figuring out what was happening. So like many women with PCOS, I had high androgens. I always have had high androgens.
So those are like the testosterone. So higher testosterone.
Acne was always kind of an issue for me. Muscle, like I can make muscle like it's going out of style because I am high androgenic, high testosterone woman, which is good for some things, but not great for my menstrual period and cycle. And so I had to kind of learn about using diet and using some different herbs. Fast forward, I worked with a naturopathic doctor to help me regulate my cycle, and it got me interested in natural medicine, natural healing, and really kind of like got me on my life's path for work. So that's the interesting part. But what I really learned when it was time for me to get pregnant, and I was on the young side, I got married at 24. So when I started to get pregnant, I was 26 or 27. So it was like 22, I started to kind of work on things, and my cycles came back after being off the pill and having no cycle. So that was one kind of step I did with learning about diet and nutrition and balancing my hormones. Then when it was like, now I want to get pregnant, I had been under a lot of stress in medical school. I was still in medical school. And my cycles were so extremely long. They were like 60 days, like when I started to count. And 60 days, sometimes maybe 48, sometimes 50. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if I was ovulating. I still had some pelvic pain. So back it went into the hardcore PCOS treatments, was like really taking care of my diet. I realized that my stress and the stress hormones had kind of thrown my hormone balance way out of whack again. And I was sort of back to a lot of the things that we talk about at Cultivate Fertility, eating really good food and using some herbs and some acupuncture and some natural therapies to help me get my cycle. So I love working with women with PCOS because I know the suffering. And I think that what I know to be true is that it goes undiagnosed a lot. And so when women sometimes come to me and they've struggled with infertility or they don't have their cycles correct, and they're tall and thin, and so maybe they weren't worked up or they don't have pelvic pain, but hormonally they have PCOS. They have more androgens than they should, and it's messing up with their hormone cycle. They have blood sugar regulation and it's messing up issues, and it's messing up with their hormone cycle. And stress issues. Many women with PCOS have whether it's caused by or it's underlying, it's hard to know, but have anxiety, have depression that also cause issues with stress hormones and regulating their cycles. So we're going to talk to you about some fun things that you can do today. Both Dr. Kara and I feel really passionately about PCOS.
And a lot of your story, Dr. Hillary, really speaks to a lot of women, I think, because it's the thing that happens is you end up with this idea of I have PCOS and I'm infertile, and that's not correct at all. So that's really stressful for women. It's subfertility. So if your hormones are not regulated and your cycles aren't regulated and you don't ovulate properly, then it's hard to get pregnant, but it doesn't mean you're infertile. And so there's this really specific point of, because you have PCOS, it does not mean that you're sterile or infertile. It just means that you have to work on it. And so I think that's actually well established in the science too. And it's 10% of women have PCOS. So it's a really common diagnosis out there. And it's certainly a common thing I see too. And it's the most common hormone regulation diagnosis that we see. So it's a lot of people are dealing with it, and there are a lot of good ways to deal with it. And then the other thing that is part of your story is the pill. And so pill now is first line treatment of, this person has PCOS, let's put them on the pill. It'll regulate your hormones, but that's not actually true. The pill doesn't regulate your hormones. It blocks your ovulation, and then you get a withdrawal bleed. And so you get your period. So you think you get your period regularly every month, but it's not because all your hormones are making that happen. It's because it's sort of being overridden. So it doesn't regulate anything. It just sort of gets you to the point where you go off it and then deal with the issue. I guess that's kind of the thing with the pill.
And I just had a patient yesterday.
But I think,
Sorry, I just had a patient yesterday that said, I had irregular periods for 10 years and long cycles. I was on the pill, and now I've been off for 8 months and trying to get pregnant. But my cycle is irregular, and I thought that it was completely regular from being on the pill. So that's like a really hard pill for her to swallow, that like, oh no, when you were on the pill, you were being overridden. Mm-hmm. And so there's still all this work to do to bring things into balance. So I super appreciate that people are asking questions in the chat, and we will for sure get to it. Ask any questions you want. That's a big part of it, and we will get to it.
So. We would love to hear where you're from and where you are on your fertility journey, so we can try and talk to you. If you're trying to get baby 3, that's different from somebody who's been having all kinds of fertility treatments for a few years. So let us know where you are if you don't mind.
So now's a good. I want to say it right, but Adriana asked. She said has super long cycles. And sometimes 72 days, never been diagnosed with PCOS. So just because you have a long cycle, it doesn't necessarily mean you have PCOS. PCOS is this like grouping of symptoms where there's hormone irregularities and often higher DHEA and higher testosterone, and often lower progesterone. Because when you have the higher androgens, the progesterone gets lower. There's often less of it in this kind of picture of symptoms. Also, there tends to be some issues with blood sugar regulation that we can sometimes see on lab tests, sometimes not. Sometimes you can see cysts on the ovaries, sometimes not. Some women can have the syndrome without the cysts, and the hormone irregularities without the cysts. Some women have cysts. So it can look very different for different people.
And we call it an umbrella diagnosis, right? And so you have to maybe have 2 out of 3 criteria, and it depends on sort of what you are looking at. But I have to say it's often that people are diagnosed too young, and that isn't actually the problem. So you have to be careful. If you were diagnosed as a teenager with PCOS, you might want to revisit that one. And then I do think it's really interesting. I have people say, but I'm not overweight. How do I have PCOS? And so there are these lean people who are, and it's a lot of people who still have PCOS. So you do not need to be overweight. A lot of people actually don't have that sort of insulin resistance as their predominant thing, but they still may have too many of the androgens. But if you're a person who has like lower back hair or some facial hair or something like that, or even the male pattern baldness, you know, like think about like your uncle's hairline or something. Oh no, come on.
No, but I had some of that male pattern balding, more of a hairline like that. And yeah. I had definitely had some hair loss, and I for sure had a lot of hair here. Love electrolysis.
I can't see any of it.
No, it's gone because I did electrolysis.
Anyway, so those are Anyway, so one thing about somebody asked about having a long cycle. So sometimes we can't figure out, you know, exactly what the cause is, but we have to look at the ovaries for that. And so there's, you know, going to your doctor and getting labs done is always good advice, but sometimes you can fix the ovary problem with some dietary changes. So PCOS, I just looked at some research study today, Hillary, you'll like this study on fish oil. And they gave the women with PCOS fish oil, and then they had a group of women with PCOS who was the control group. They didn't give it to them. And the average day of cycles was very long. You know, it went down from like 49-day cycles down to like a 27-day cycle. And it was dramatic, the change. Just taking fish oil. So changing things in your diet can help.
It's just first line treatment. So we want to talk to you more about what you can do. So the biggest issue for women is when they're trying to get pregnant and they've got an umbrella diagnosis of PCOS or hormone dysregulation that PCOS causes, is that it's very difficult to know when you're going to ovulate, typically. And your cycles are unpredictable and often long. Not always, but can be. And so that is one of the things that we just want to help change for our clients and our patients. And food is your first stop. Food, we're going to talk about food a lot. We're going to talk about exercise, and then we're going to talk about knowing your ovulation cycle a little bit more. And fish oil, like Dr. Kara talked about, one of the biggest food deficiencies in our diets is omega fats, essential fatty acids, fish oils. So I
have some here.
Oh, good. Why don't you talk about
Okay. So we go into this in our Cultivate Fertility diet in detail about the omega-3 fats, but one thing that's really helpful to start adding in today is some nut and seed kind of mixtures. And so this is a seed mixture. And in this is, and there's a recipe on the website, and we're going to actually even send it to you, I believe, or a link to it. On the bottom here, I have hemp hearts, and here's like a bag of them. So you can buy them anywhere. And these are really good sources of omega-3 fats. They don't have anything in it that you need, like a, cannabis prescription card or anything like that. It's just a source of protein and really good fats and really good minerals, actually. And so people use it in smoothies. Our smoothies have a lot of hemp in them, but they taste good. They taste a little nutty. And so they're in the bottom of this jar. The second thing up are sesame seeds. I have black sesame seeds and white sesame seeds. And so these seeds are in here more for the hormone regulation than actually the fats in the seeds. So they really help with balancing out your hormones, that extra testosterone or androgens we were talking about. These seeds actually have your liver make something that pulls them out of the body. It's incredible. So they're really strong. They have good research. They're pretty neat. And then we have sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds on the top here, which again have more of those special fibers and special fats in them. And there's also chia seeds in there. So this is something where the recipe is right on the website. We'll send you the link for that, and then you can make it easily and you keep it in the refrigerator. And I was just telling Hillary that like our video for the diet course, I ended saying, put a bow on it and bring it to your next dinner party. I don't think people are having so many dinner parties around these times, but I was actually with a close friend the other day. I fed her a salad and I had used one of these. This is my other jar. And she said, how did you do this on the salad? Like, what is on this salad? Because you just shake it up and you sprinkle it on salads, on oatmeal, on, your yogurt or your vegan yogurt. And it really helps with nutrition during the day. And she loved it. So she ended up going home with my other jar. But we think probably the amount of this, it'd be great if you got a tablespoon to 3 even a day of good quality nuts and seeds. So we talk more about that in the diet course, but this is just so easy to do. Everybody go home and do this. I love that. It's useful for many things.
So we talk a lot about essential fatty acids with our patients. A lot of our patients we sort of insist that they're on a really great quality fish oil. We have one that we love at cultivatefertility.com. It's really important, and eating those seeds is a great way to add them another way into your diet. We also on our blog have an anchovy dressing that we love and that our patients have loved, and that's a great way to increase your essential fats. The essential fatty acids do a couple things. They're very helpful for balancing hormones. They're also really helpful for mood. And so, like I had alluded to before, many women who have PCOS, sometimes if they do struggle with their weight, they have issues from that, and it can contribute to some anxiety, some depression. And always with these things, it's hard to know what comes first. The chicken or the egg, right? Like what comes first, the depression and then the hormone changes, or the hormone changes and the depression? It's just hard to know. But fish oils help so much. It's my kind of like first line therapeutic for anybody that's suffering from anxiety and depression or some mood changes and instability. The second thing that's the most important, one of the most important things you can do that's not in the kitchen, but is exercise. So the research is undeniable that exercise is a potent medicine for balancing hormones and for some of that mood stuff that we talked about, but for PCOS specifically.
Specific PCOS research is just undeniable. We've got to get people exercising and exercising kind of dramatically. So it's not like a light leisure walk, although if you don't exercise at all, that's awesome. 20-minute walk a day, you start with that. It's more intense exercise that, Hillary can tell you more about.
So it's high intensity exercise, and that means basically that your heart's pumping and beating and you're sweating and you get breathless. So whether it's walking up a hill, a lot of times with my patients, I have them warm up for 10 minutes and then do cycles, 2-minute cycles, where they're either walking really hard up a hill or they're sprinting up a hill. I wouldn't start sprinting up a hill if you're not exercising because you could hurt yourself, but you're like getting breathless. And that breathlessness is like almost when you taste a little blood in your mouth, like you're like, because that's when you're really working your heart, and then you recover. So in any 2-minute cycle, maybe it's 30 seconds that you're getting breathless, 45 seconds until you can't go anymore. And then you're recovering, and then you're exercising, and then you're recovering, and then you're and so that's called high intensity interval work.
Training.
And it gets,
and that's important to note. So it's not get on the treadmill, not get on your Peloton and go for like a long time, because that can increase the stress hormones, which is a whole other thing that can cause problems with ovulation. So that short bursts of high heart rate are really great to get into that, and not just like push your body till you're run ragged. That's not at all
no,
a good
you don't
idea
need to
when you're trying to
go
get pregnant.
run a marathon, but like the Peloton has awesome interval workouts. And if you even just search like the 7-minute workout, they do high
workout is
intensity
great.
and you can do it twice. And then it works a lot of different muscle groups, and you're usually kind of doing some higher intensity thing and then a rest. Or if you just look at Dr. Mercola talks a lot about high intensity interval training, or used to in the past. So there's a lot of information. So we've got diet changes, which we're going to talk about a little bit more. That was just the beginning.
That was just one part of it.
But one of the main things that we like to talk about with PCOS, like we talked about, is blood sugar regulation. So with our patients, with my moms, my nursing moms, my pregnant women, even children, my patients, regulating your blood sugar during the day has so many positive effects. It keeps your mood stable. It keeps your cravings down. It helps prevent hypo or hyperglycemia. And so what we want is, instead of like a blood sugar spike, which is like downing a glass of orange juice first thing in the morning, would spike your blood sugar really high. And then you'd come down from that high and be really low and crave something, usually more sugar or caffeine. So you want to do something in the morning where we do a lot of smoothies with our patients and our clients at Cultivate Fertility, using a high quality protein powder, taking also fish oils or putting fats into that, using fat and protein to help regulate your blood sugar. It really helps on the hormonal level to regulate the hormones.
And we're going to show you a smoothie at the end. So just stay till the end so we can show you how to balance out a smoothie.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to show you the tea. I wrote in the section here, if you go to our cultivatefertility.com, underneath the blogs, right up at the top, we've got blogs where we have a lot of our favorite recipes. And this one is called the, morning detox tea. And this was made for our detox program, but of course we love to share it with everybody. There's a lot of benefits to it. Right now I'm specifically talking about the cinnamon. Cinnamon is a beautiful blood sugar regulator for many reasons, but part of it is the tannins in the cinnamon. What it does, and it's been studied extensively, it's such a strong, potent plant medicine that we use for a lot of things, but for PCOS, it's an awesome thing to add into smoothies, to add if you're having something sugary, like a snack of apples. Putting a bunch of cinnamon on it helps to regulate the blood sugar. And drinking cinnamon tea, this morning detox tea, is a great way to help regulate blood sugar as well when you're in the morning or throughout the day. And it's great iced, because I know it's summer and hot as heck. We've got a cutie here from Texas. Like, you're not going to want to drink hot tea. You may pour it over ice. It works great. And smoothie.
And I always say about that tea that people, once they start doing it, stay on it. It's so delicious. So there's something about it. Everybody loves it. It's one way we get people off their caffeinated beverages, but it's just so delicious. So give it a try. It seems like it's a simple tea, but it really gets you going, and it's kind of exciting. You're happy when you drink it. I have a diet question that comes up a lot. What about a keto diet? Because we're saying, blood sugar regulations, so sugar's not good. So maybe no carbs. This comes up a lot. So we
This comes
think
up a lot.
we don't love it.
We don't love our fertility diet, and we've got a whole long, great course on it with a ton of recipes, and we go ad nauseum into it. What's the best fertility diet? The best fertility diet, time and time again, research has shown, is the Mediterranean diet. And the Mediterranean diet does have some carbohydrates. Now, there's a big difference from eating white bread from eating very nutrient dense carbohydrates that work for your body and that are really full of antioxidants. We want to be, our fertility patients, we want to have food that's rich in antioxidants. And you'll see if you go to our website and look at our foods, any of our food pictures, like on our Nourish page, or if you look at images from the diet course, you can watch a video that just introduces the diet course. You can see all this gorgeous food, lots of colors, lots of vegetables, lots of antioxidants. It works because they help ovary health, it helps hormone health, and it helps the dudes with their sperm health. So we're really into promoting a lot of colors, very, very, very colorful plates.
And we're not really about restrictive diet. We're into let's really eat these fertility superfoods and have a fantastic diet that will later on in life prevent early onset dementia and heart disease and cancer and all those things. So we just promote a really healthy diet that happens to also coincide with all the fertility research that we know about. And so the keto diet question, it does come up a lot, and it's really interesting because if we say for PCOS, you should not be eating sugar, it's really different if we say don't eat sugar rather than we don't want you to have any whole grains or any sweet potatoes or anything like that. So it's sort of the carb choices. So if you're having, maple syrup and honey and sugar every day in larger quantities, we don't want you to have that. So that's the one thing we're going to be restrictive about, because it's really clear that that's not good for your ovaries, whether you have PCOS or not. And so we really want to be really clear on this, that the keto diet is not helpful for ovulation. And so sometimes people go on a keto diet and then it messes up their menstrual cycle. They may stop ovulating, much like if I started training for a marathon, which I'm not going to do at my old age, I would stop having a menstrual period potentially because my body fat would go down so much. So just like that, you don't want to do some crazy, dramatic, stressful diet when you're trying to get pregnant. It's not a good idea. If you're very overweight and you want to lose weight before getting pregnant, because the extra weight does have risk associated with it, then maybe you do a keto diet for a shorter period of time just to get that weight loss going, but not actively while you're trying to get pregnant. Definitely not while you're pregnant. We get this a lot, and it's problematic when people have like blood sugar issues during pregnancy. Somehow they go online and find out I'm going to go on a keto diet. Not a great idea. So we want you to teach you how to eat properly with these fats and this protein regulation, and how to do that instead.
So it's amazing when we work with patients, and the reason why we created Cultivate Fertility really is because obviously we're insanely passionate about helping women with their fertility and doctoring women. It's our life work. We love it. We'll never not do it. But it's more like we don't have time with our patients that we're desperate for to talk about all these things. We're often kind of managing PCOS in a shorter visit. We don't have the time to get to talk about the foods that we've researched for a lot of years and used on our bodies and with our patients. And we really wanted to be able to create these courses where we could go at length and talk at length about what the research is, but also make it fun and how you can make lifestyle choices and changes. Because the truth is the fertility part is your first step into your family life, where you're going to want to make as many optimal choices for your fertility, pregnancy, nursing, and family health. And they're all so crucial. And so now we just love being able to create courses where people can really educate themselves more about it.
This is another question that I want to throw out to you, Hillary. Like, is it true that you can change your diet and regulate your cycles that way?
You can change your diet and regulate your cycles. It's like changing your diet can change your life. And I don't love to be a zealot. I'm not like some crazy diet zealot, because I love all the foods. And I love sugar, and I like to party, and I like everything. You know, I don't want to be, we're not asking our patients to be so restrictive. Like, I'm a huge cook. I love to entertain, but changing diet can change your life. And over and again, it's so fun. Like, we've been doing this for more than 15 years now, each of us. So it's like, you just don't, I can't express enough the power of diet. And for families, like my pediatric patients, they're just so healthy because they're eating healthy. And the women who work on their bodies and they're through their diet and get stuff really aligned for their fertility, the great news is those patients do really well through breastfeeding, and they don't crash as hard. Sometimes I see these women who are young, 17, 18, 21, they get pregnant easily, but they don't have a great foundational diet, and they crash when they're breastfeeding. One of the silver linings, although it's hard to say that there's silver linings if you're working on fertility or if you have an infertility diagnosis, it's obviously ridiculously challenging, and we understand that. One of the silver linings is if you go down this path of really working on your diet and connecting with your body, it will help you so much along your parenting journey. So enough lecturing, but I can't stress enough how much my diet changed. For my PCOS, when I was a stress eater and a bit of a binge eater, and I was consuming way too much sugar. I was thin because I was exercising, but I was over sugar, over caffeine. I overdid all the things. So once I learned to kind of regulate my blood sugar and to eat more antioxidants and to eat kale and to like some of these foods, it changed my fertility.
I would want to give an understanding that food craving and like overeating is part of PCOS, because the hormones are off, so you don't have that stop valve like thing going that everybody else may. And so it might just be the condition that's like driving you to eat too much of this and like having these cravings, and maybe getting your hormones under control will help that. So it's like due to, it's not your fault. It's like part of the condition.
Yeah,
so,
it's the full chicken and egg. Okay, so we have one of the smoothies that we love. It's in our diet course. Mm-hmm. It's also in our detox course booklet. So we also have a detox that we love, but we're talking mostly about the diet.
So I am doing this. You can see it's very late. It's like 9:30 at night at my house, and so I'm doing this as kind of a dessert for my family. So I'm using coconut milk in this recipe. This recipe is absolutely in the blog. There's a YouTube video showing us make this recipe, but I'm using coconut milk, and then I'm going to add cinnamon. So cinnamon for the blood sugar regulation piece is extremely important, and it makes this smoothie taste so good. And it's a weird group of flavors. People are like, really? I'm going to put cinnamon with cucumbers, and it's a lot of cinnamon in the recipe. And then here's some cucumbers. I got my farm share today, and we got cucumbers. So I'm going to put about half a cucumber in there. I'm going to use the whole banana, and it's kind of a large banana. The recipe also calls for half a date. I'm going to like cheat. I'm sorry. I'm going to skip the date because my banana's really ripe. So it's very sugary. And it's going to make it too sweet if I put the date in. We like the date for some of the mineral content in a date. And for people who want a sweet and they're craving sugar, maybe half the date is going to be good for them. But the banana is very good for your gut bacteria. So I want the banana in there. And besides, I'm making this for my whole family, and they want the banana. we have really nice greens, which the recipe calls for spinach, and these are really beautiful greens from our farm here. I live in Connecticut, and it is almost August 1st, so this is unbelievable how you caught me right with the perfect things for this. Chia seeds are going in here. Chia is a source of omega-3 fats. I always just buy them organic, but any company will do. And you can buy them powdered or in seed form. The powder's really nice. It goes in things really easily. The seeds, if you take them and put them on your salads or something like that, it's really not advised because they can get all stuck in your throat and it's not a good idea. So powdered chia might be a better option to just have in your refrigerator. And we have our protein powder. So this is the Cultivate Fertility Organic Vegan Protein Plus Greens. So
I love that protein powder.
Love the protein. It actually smells really good. So it is a little green because of the greens in it. So
I love having a protein powder with extra greens, because what we chose this, we've used this protein powder. We over the years, we've used a lot of protein powders, but this is our favorite that we chose for Cultivate Fertility because we love having the extra greens and the extra antioxidants for egg health, for sperm health, for hormone balance, the whole thing. And it tastes delicious, and
this smoothie is absolutely delicious. So this cacao nibs. So this is another superfood I'm going to put in. It kind of gives a little chocolate to it. It's like a little bit of a bitter taste, and we need it because this one's kind of sweet. So, Hill, why don't you tell us more about how the protein balances the blood sugar? Because the protein is key in here. Because between, the banana and the date, that is kind of a lot of sugar. And I do find that one of the pitfalls of smoothie making for people is that they just put fruit in and maybe some yogurt that has a lot of sugar in the yogurt. And then you're really missing out because it's a big sugar spike, like you said, and then your sugar drops like an hour or two later. So the protein powder is key in a smoothie. I'm going to blend this. I'm going to go on
one
mute.
of the crucial things that, like we've talked about for blood sugar regulation, protein and fat. So did you see she used coconut oil or coconut milk? Coconut milk is high in fat, and the chia seeds are high in fat. So if you looked at our fertility diet, or like, it would look like it's a very kind of high fat diet, and that's because fats are the building blocks for your cholesterol, is the building blocks for all your hormones. So we want good fats. We need it for great skin, and we need it on our insides to keep our hormones moving beautifully, to have enough of them and to keep them really smooth. But the fat and the protein, the fat just takes a longer time to break down, and they really just like work against the sweets. So again, like my problem too, for if my patients go to a juice place and they get like all the fruit and none of the fat or protein, their blood sugar spiking. That causes some inflammation and some stress. Then it drops, and when it drops, they feel bad, and then they're craving more sugar, more caffeine. And what we're really trying to do is to keep your stress hormones down and to keep your blood sugar nice and smooth. And so proteins and fats really work to do those things. Is it delicious?
I haven't tasted it yet, but this is the color. It's kind of like this cool lighter green color. I didn't blend it all the way because I kind of like the chunkiness of the cacao nibs, because they're, I don't know, it kind of reminds me.
I love when they feel like kind of a healthy chocolate. And this is my tea, and this is the cinnamon tea. It smells amazing. It always is.
We're both having cinnamon. Mine is, I can't even tell you how delicious.
We're both having cinnamon because we're talking about PCOS. And so cinnamon is a PCOS superfood. It's one of our fertility superfoods and detox superfoods. And you can read more about that on our blog. But so we're talking to you about some of our programs because we really believe that diving a little bit more into your fertility will benefit you, like I said, in so many ways. It's not just about your fertility. It's about your whole body and your health, or your family's health if you already have a family and you're trying to make more. So there's two things I think that are really important learning for PCOS that we can offer you. And one is that diet course. It's just foundational and it's kind of fun and easy. You'll refer back to it. It's got a ton of beautiful handouts with recipes. You could try new foods for a long time based on that, and a lot of really our fertility superfoods that we really want our patients to be eating all the time. So that's that. And then the other one is an ovulation course. We made a mini course on ovulation because so many of our patients have questions about if they're ovulating, when are they ovulating, when are they the most fertile, how do my hormones work. And so we really talked a little bit about the science and a lot about kind of what you can do about what we go through with our patients. And some of our patients look at us bright-eyed like, well, I don't remember ever learning this, how the female hormone symphony works, the things that work against it being well-timed, knowing when you're ovulating, knowing when your fertile window is. These are really important if you're struggling with PCOS. So we really encourage kind of this online digital learning. It's such an amazing way to kind of get the context, have essentially the two of us yapping at you a lot. But, and you can kind of do it as you want. There are all these courses you can kind of learn a little and then go back. The ovulation course is shorter. You can get through it quickly, but you can go back and like use it as a reference. And that's the thing that we're so excited about that we get to offer through Cultivate Fertility that our patients don't get when they work with us in person, because they can't go back and keep learning it with us that time. So anyway,
So I guess the point of PCOS, this little talk we're doing here, is just to make sure you're really looking at the diet, because I just always am so sad when people think that they can't do anything about it. You really can, and you can help your fertility incredibly by doing daily actions that aren't so difficult. I mean, this is absolutely delicious.
The foods taste delicious. We can't eat. We're like ladies that love to eat. And so we're not going to eat bad food. And I wasn't going to eat bad food when I had PCOS. I just had to learn about the right foods and superfoods and ways to balance my hormones. And now my 17-year-old is saying, Mom, I'm really hungry. Can we make dinner?
Are we done now? I think we are. I'm going to go serve my smoothie to the rest of my family, and I will see you next time.
If there's any questions from anybody out there, please let us know, or please join our Facebook group, the Cultivate Fertility group, because that's an easy forum for asking Dr. Kara and myself some questions if you have any further questions, or we can kind of point you to different resources or plunk around our blog. And also we have webinars on the website that we've recorded previously, so you can learn some stuff about ovulation that way too. But so much luck to you on your fertility journey. Have a lot of faith in what your body can do when you put all the right things into it.
Good luck, everybody.
Bye, Kara. Thanks for being with us tonight, everybody. Bye.